everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. So before I get started, I'm going to take just a second, especially for those of you that follow me all the time, just to let you know a little personal update in my our family's life. So a lot of you know, especially if you follow me, that my April's super busy, and I've kind of tweaked a few things to kind of accommodate some personal things. And this week in particular, with Easter and my niece is in town, she's getting married later this year, and so it's her shower, and I'm hosting it. So I had rearranged everything, and every single solitary day this week had like lists of things to do. But yesterday morning, it was going to be my work day where I was going to try to cram everything in and get all of my work stuff done in basically one day as much as I could. But I happened to wake up when my husband does. He gets up really early, what I call really early, for work, and I heard him in the shower and I heard him fall, and he collapsed in the shower. So an ambulance came very early in the morning. Thankfully I was awake, but the ambulance took him to the hospital and told me which hospital they took him to, which was the wrong hospital. And it was on the other side of town. So by the time I got to the wrong hospital and they tracked him down to the correct hospital, I had to drive across traffic in rush hour to the other side of town. Thankfully he's okay, but it was a very long day, as you know, if you've spent any time in an emergency room. So we went from half the day in the ER where it was freezing cold, and then to a cardiologist. I didn't get coffee, we didn't really eat, and all of the phone calls, and I hadn't charged my phone because like I said, I was going to be working all day, and so when I sit here and I film, my phone's plugged in all day, so it didn't even occur to me. And I did pack my charger, but the hospital that I had gone to that was the correct hospital was in downtown Indianapolis, and that had to park in a parking garage, not in a parking lot, and I had to walk quite some distance. I was also afraid that I was going to lose my car because I wasn't really sure where I was going. So I did take pictures of my car, but I didn't carry all of this stuff. And I didn't think to grab my charger out of the little bag of stuff that I thrown together. So it was a very long day. Those of you who, some of you did get an email because you were supposed to have gotten instructions for your thank you project. So my VIP members did get an email knowing them what was up. The rest of you, I will get an email today. It will be the only email I send this week. And the videos that I had hoped to get up and out, this may be the only one that I post this week. I had other cards designed, but they may not get done. And those of you in my card club, the stuff is ready, but he hadn't finished cutting the paper. He is at work today, but he's not feeling all the way great. So, he cut his arm pretty bad in the fall, and he didn't eat anything. He'd happened to have a root canal the day before, and his tooth is still really sore, which I'm not a fan of his dentist, and I stopped going there a decade ago because I don't like that dentist. So I'm not quite sure that Card Club will get out until after Easter, which everything is basically ready except for the stuff that just came in Monday. So we'll see. I don't know that Card Club will go out, but I will keep those of you in club posted as well. So I do have a cute project for you. I'm going to show you a couple of different things. The catalog will go out. Club girls will get it next, and then next week we will get the rest of the catalogs out. They will go out next week. So by next week, I'll get back on track. I'm just a full day and now a day and a half because, I have a lot of siblings and a lot of friends. And by the time you text and talk on the phone, now I've lost another half a day, more than a half a day. It's now the middle of the afternoon. And I've really done nothing other than take care of a few things around the house that needed to be attended to and answer everybody on the phone. So lost a whole day and a half out of a week that I had no time spare is now gone. So here are a few tutorials that are up in case you've missed them. This one was I think the last one. I'm a little bit scatterbrained, sorry. But I think this is the last one that I had posted. And this will be the first online class, and several of you have asked about it. The registration hasn't opened for it. It will open sometime probably late next week. I'll open it, and it will be my May class. So in May, we will have Try It class. That is over half full, and the details for that will be in my email. So Try It class, club, and then this will be late May. So that class. And then this one is up, and This one has the new message in the bottle. We're using a bunch of the new in colors on today's card. So if you didn't catch the in color comparison, that video is up. And then this one is about Try It. Like I said, that class is over half full, and I really haven't had time to really tell you much about it. So if you want in it, I suggest that you, normally I would do a second push for it. Before I get to the second push, it may be full. So go to this video. I have this, and my iPad was also dead. Good thing I didn't take it to the hospital because I wouldn't have been able to use it. I did pack my, I can't even think of the word, my laptop, but because of parking downtown, I didn't carry it with. I didn't want to carry it in the morning rush hour as many blocks as I had to walk to get to where I was going. So Try It class is with the new catalog, and I do it for every catalog. Annual catalog is a little bit bigger, so we'll make 12 projects. It's online. You do not need a die cut machine. You do not need any stamps. You may want to add some sentiments at the end. I obviously haven't designed the class because I don't have all of the supplies yet. Then it comes with this PDF. This one is from the 2021 annual catalog, so a couple of years ago. So then you'll get a little playlist at the beginning. You will also get the individual links for all of the videos to complete all of the projects. And then they're all fun folds or templates or layouts for the most part. So each one will have, I don't do these sketches anymore, so this is a little bit old, but they'll have a template. So then in the future, you'll be able to go back and be like, oh, I want to do a bookmark card, and pull this PDF out and use it, the templates on it. This was one of my favorite cards that I've ever made in Try It. It's a real fun little way to do a class. So there's that. So this is the first project. You always get to see one. Unplug that now. One project ahead of time. So this is our first project. So you can kind of see what I mean by a template. So this is a pocket slider. And every card will have new paper. It all starts with new paper. That one's kind of stuck. They were in my bag in the card. New paper, new embellishments. Everybody's might be a little bit different. I try to get as many pieces of paper on it. So I get as many new punches, as many new die cuts, as all of the new ribbon, all of the new papers. You might not get every sheet of every new paper, but you get to see it, and I walk it through the packets for you. So that is open, and it will fill. So if you want to take it, then you need to sign up for it. There is the mailed class version of it where you get all the supplies, and then you can also just do the videos and PDFs. So for today, hopefully I remember how I made this card because a lot has happened in my life since last week when I designed it. My daughter was actually here doing taxes on the computer while I was doing this card. So I'm going to use Botanical layers. Now it is a bundle, and it's in the new catalog, which I can't open it up and show you. I should have looked at it before I started the card. It's got some really funky kind of, this is my favorite, leaves, and it has this really fun like little Queen Anne's lace. It could also be a snowflake, because when I stamped it, I'm like, that could be a snowflake. And then it has some fun sentiments, but it's bundled with vellum, which we've never done anything like that before. So you can see it's got some printed vellum, and like this one has the leaves, and this is kind of where I went with it, but I stamped it. So it's got these printed pieces, which you could use with this or not with it. And then it has a whole stack of, I don't even know what size this is, maybe like 3 by 4. It looks like it might be 3 by 4. It's quite a lot thinner than our cardstock vellum. Well, maybe not quite a lot, but it is thinner than the cardstock vellum. And it's a nice size to have just handy here on the table. I use vellum all the time. I'm a big fan of vellum, and not a lot of people order it. So I think when you have this size and it's kind of panel ready, if you watch my channel, like on this card here, I could have used a sheet of this, but to be honest, I didn't know that the whole pack wasn't printed. So I like to take these size sheets, and when we have this really busy designer series paper, which we have a lot of, it's beautiful paper. And it's great if all you want to do is add a sentiment to it. But if you want to add some stamped images, I have to slow down talking. I'm trying to get a lot done today. If you want to add stamped images over the top of it, sometimes when you just layer that piece of vellum, it kind of tones the whole thing. Obviously on this, you can still see that it has those beautiful images on the paper, but it kind of tones it down So you still see it here, but it makes a great backdrop then for our beautiful stamps. So I kind of played with it for a little bit. I was trying to make 2 cards while my daughter's here, but you know, when your kids are here and you're talking, it's not like you get a lot done. So, and I also wanted to use some of the new colors. And I kind of wanted to use, you know, right now, spring's coming really late here in Indiana, at least. But nothing's more beautiful to me in the spring than when we have all of the fun purples and greens all ablaze at the same time. So I'm going to do the new purples and the new greens. And then I'm going to add in a couple of older colors that are just part of our core collection. When I did it the first time, I just stamped the vellum, and then I decided it needed another layer. So I'm going to do both layers today at the same time. I'm going to use the new Orchid Oasis as my base. It's like a beautiful periwinkle. It's really pretty. And these colors together are just fabulous. So I'm going to use my bone folder, which is my free gift with purchase this month. And if you purchase, you'll also get you'll get a hole in it with the charm attached. My girlfriend makes the charms. So we have the orchid, and then we're going to start stamping. So I'm going to put them here. Really kind of need 2 pieces of paper. And I wanted to use all of the layers because it has a bunch of the different layers. So let's start with, you want to start with your largest stamp. So I'm going to start with Starry Sky, which is another one of the new colors, and start with your largest stamp, which is this, not that one. It's kind of this funky one that has kind of holes in it. I'm not really quite sure. I think maybe it's meant to be layered over each other on the vellum. This set needs a little bit of time to kind of be played with. And I was talking to my daughter, so I wasn't really focused on the set. But I think you could stamp this again in another color and layer it because it comes with this vellum. So I'm going to stamp that there, flip this over. The Starry, what's the name of it? Starry Sky. It's kind of a bluish purple. It's very pretty. I should have pulled one of the cardstock pieces. Oh, I guess I have it on my little chart. And then I'm going to put it kind of in the same place, but maybe just at a tad bit of a different angle on my vellum. And it stays wet on this vellum for a very long time. So your options are, you may have caught my card club video where we're doing this kind of similar thing to the tulips. You can set it aside and let it dry. It's raining here today because, you know, April showers and all. So it take a very long time for it to dry. I'm going to emboss it with clear embossing powder, which makes it beautiful. And then I'm going to do, the next 2 are kind of either or, could be the same sizes. I'm going to do this one here. And I'm going to do it in Coastal Cabana, which is not a new color, but it's one of my favorite colors. And it looks really pretty with the spring purples and greens. So I'm just going to kind of do corners, and they fit in together really well. I'm going to do that one there. I'll just do one of it. I don't want them to all be exactly the same. And the first time I did it, I didn't want them to be exactly the same, but they were very close to being exactly the same. So this time I'm making a concerted effort to not stamp them in the exact same direction. And now I'm going to do the orchid. And this more solid group of leaves, partly because that's my cardstock base, and this will pull it in nicely. I'm just going to do one. Isn't that pretty? And now you can see that there's definitely a difference in those 2 colors. I've had a lot of people ask me how similar those 2 colors are. They pair nicely together, but they're not the same color. I'm going to go down just a little bit farther on this. And this is very wet now. Some very wet ink on here. Got all those. And then I'm going to do the new Tahitian Tide. I have to keep looking at the names because I don't remember them all. I didn't remember them last week, but then we had a weekend and some disasters. So let's do the Tahitian, and I'm going to put it on here twice. I only did it once on my other one. I did it right on the edge, and it kind of got lost because we'll see in a minute when I put the label on. So this time I am going to switch up where I put it. I'm going to do one here. And then I'm going to do one here. And then I'm going to do them kind of in opposite places over on this because they're smaller. Got those. And now we're going to do the new green, which is the Parakeet Party. And this is where those little things that are like Queen Anne's lace, the top of it, but they could also be a snowflake later on if you need some tiny little snowflakes. I'm just gonna add, there's 2 different sizes, and then there's also one that's some little dots. I'm not gonna use the little dots. That's about, I think, the only flower or leaf shape that I didn't use. And I'm just kind of adding these. So there'll be some pops of color underneath. So that's all we need for our background piece. Normally I would tell you to start with the bigger piece, but I wasn't paying attention, and these are pretty similar in size. Flip this one over. Now I'm going to put a label in the middle so that it doesn't matter that nothing's there because it's going to cover it up. So we've got that. Now I'm going to go ahead and emboss this with the clear, and then we'll make our label just to keep this from accidentally getting smeared with anything. And turn this over. Here's my clear powder. And it sounds like the UPS man is pulling up with the rest of the club pieces that I needed. So just pour that on, and you can see it's been a minute since I did that first piece here, but it sticks on here fine. That's how long it takes ink to dry on vellum. Now, if you're in a really dry state, if you're in Utah and it's the middle of summer and the air is sucking the moisture right out of your eyeballs, you know, when you live in a humid state and it can be pretty wet, you go to a dry state and you're like, how do you guys live here? And then you guys come to our house. Our house. You're like, it's so wet here. So it can affect a lot of stamping things like this, like the heat and stick powder that we have. It works different, and it can be different here if we have our heat on, or different here in the summer and our windows are open and it's raining outside. So I'm going to heat this. I'm going to heat it from the bottom, and I usually turn my gun on and let it get warm. And you just kind of wiggle it around. Make sure that we got everywhere. It looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to set this aside. It doesn't, because some of these are solid. I mean, embossing powder is dry right away, but the solid pieces are warm. So you want them to just cool off before you put anything on top of them. So now I'm going to take one of the new die cuts that we have, and it's called maybe Fabulous Frames. It's just kind of a standalone set. I'm going to do it twice. I'm going to run it through once through the orchid and just once through the white. And then I'll show you what they look like after I run them through. Okay, so I've run those through. You can see it. Each run does this. So like the purple, well, here, it did this. So it pops this out, and then it gives you this really fun stitched frame. So I want to be able to stamp on this, and then I wanted my frame to be a color. So I did it twice. I'm sure at some point, if you're in Card Club, you'll be getting a piece of this. It may show up in the Try It class. Like I said, I haven't designed Try It class, so I'm not 100% certain what we're going to do for that. But we're going to lay this here, and then we're going to lay this here. And my other one, because they were so close to where I had stamped, you know, if you meant to line stuff up, it would be impossible, but I didn't mean to, and they were pretty lined up. So this time I tried to be off center a little bit more. I want them kind of in the same general spot, so it kind of looks like they're, you know, that could be a tree and it's layered, but my other ones were kind of right on top of each other. I pulled out one of the sentiments from the set, so I'm going to stamp it in the orchid since that's the color or base color, and also the frame. Says, thank you for everything you do. Let's put that there. And then I am not going to ink anything back up, but I'm just going to grab some of these. Oh, and you know what? He just painted the table, so I can't stamp on it. Those of you that watch me get stressed because I stamp on my table. He does paint it every so often to make up for the fact that I just stamp straight on it. But I'm just going to take these, and they have ink on them. And because especially I stamped on the vellum, it has a lot of ink on it. So I'm just going to kind of barely stamp on the edges. And look how much is still there. I'm just going to, I don't have to re-ink anything. Grab this one. This one. This is the lightest, and it's partly because the Coastal Cabana is a light ink already, and it's my oldest pad. So when you have these brand new pads, they are a little bit more saturated because my Coastal Cabana could stand to be refilled. So anytime you're doing a card like this, and I used 3 new pads, like look at all of these. I don't even have to blow on it. The Coastal Cabana, I had to huff on it, because you can tell the difference when you need to ink a pad. But I didn't have to re-ink anything. That was just all leftover ink from the new pads. So now we have that. So then for the ribbon, we have all of this beautiful in color. And look, I could have used any of them. The only one I don't have is the pink, because these are all of the new colors that are on our card. So I used these 2. And I could use those, like I could put it all on there because it's beautiful. You have to get all of this new ribbon as soon as the catalog goes out, because how can you not have this ribbon? So to put this frame on, it was a little bit tricky. Not tricky, and you don't have to tie a bow. It was because I didn't know what I was doing, because I wanted to get it both colors on here. So I'm going to take this. I cut this a little bit smaller than 4 by 5 1/4 because I wanted the periwinkle to show on the sides, because it's not periwinkle, the orchid, because it's just beautiful. So this time I'm going to do it opposite, and part of the reason I'm going to do this opposite is because I don't want to use up all of any one ribbon, because when demonstrators can pre-order, but we can't get mass quantities of anything, and I don't want to use up one of my colors before I've used up. Like if I keep using the same one, then my green might be gone. So just tied a knot there. I'm going to take this, and you know where I said in the middle I wasn't worried about not having anything stamped because I knew that I was going to put my frame there. I'm going to wrap this around. I want to make sure that I have enough. And, you know, in the future, if I had lots of these ribbons sitting around, I would do a whole bunch. So I had plenty to tie, so I'm going to barely do enough of this. I'm just going to tie a knot on this side. You want to be careful that you don't pull your vellum so it curls. But it's not hard to do. Like once I figured out what I wanted to do to make this work, it wasn't hard. So just kind of hold this flat and then pull that so the ribbon pulls it. Now we know this is going to get covered up right here because vellum can be tricky. So you want to make sure that ribbon is straight across the back. Put that there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive where this frame's going to get stuck. You can kind of twist it. We're going to fix the ribbon in a second. So if you think it looks awful, it'll be okay in just a minute. Now, all of these corners where they're kind of lifted, it's doing that because it was heat embossed. So just lift it up, and then right here where where there's a purple leaf, just add some adhesive right there. And that's going to cover up. You're not going to see the adhesive there. And then that will just kind of flatten all that down. Now take another color, and you can use any of the colors because we have all of the new in colors on there except for the sorbet. So I'm just going to do another one here. And this is just so we have another pop of color. And it's partly because my daughter and I were looking at it, and I'm like, which color? And she's like, this one. And then she's like, no, this one. No, this one. And we went back and forth between all 4 colors. And I'm like, well, I can put 2 on here. You could put 4. Nobody's going to fault you if you have 4 colors of ribbon. So we have this, and you know this ribbon does the shreddy thing. You have to be careful if you're using your snips because then it literally shreds, and we don't want it to literally shred. Just kind of separate these. And ladies, let me tell you, stamping, I know we're not supposed to, according to the powers that be, we're not supposed to say stamping is therapy, but it is a fabulous escape. Because I have been able to sit here now for all of this time and create with you and not think about things that are going on in my life. So sometimes when you're having a hard day and you just want to, it's an escape. It's not therapy because, you know, nothing gets better at the end of it, but it is an escape. It's especially even a better escape because on Monday I was with my girlfriends, and we had, if you are a demonstrator and you are going to the Indianapolis Stampin' Up! Event this fall, we will be hosting some other additional activities. So on Monday we were working on that. If you're not a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you want to come to the Stampin' Up! Event in Indy, then stay tuned because you can join our team. We'll have something for all demonstrators, and then we are going to have something on either side of it on one of the days just for our team. So that's what, so stamping by yourself, you can escape. Stamping with your friends, you can escape and you can laugh. So we have that. I may trim it down just a tad when I get that in there. I'm going to grab a dimensional. This is the edge of my tiny ones. So when you have the edge, you can just use cut one piece. Have that, and then this just fits right back in here. So if you're interested in any of my online classes, especially that Try It class, because like I said, it's filling up, and it's not for me doing much advertising for it at this point. I haven't even made an Instagram. I made the picture, but I haven't posted on Instagram. I haven't posted on Facebook. It's just because it's gotten more popular. And there's only so much space that my husband and I have to cut and prepare packets for it. So there's a physical limit to how many people can do the class because it's quite a lot of work. So I'm going to pop that down there. So here it is with this ribbon. You don't really notice the difference in the ribbon. See this one? I didn't mean for all of these things to quite line up. This was the only one where I did it opposite enough that you really noticed. Oh, and my gems. I have a new gems coming today that are new that would probably work on this, but I didn't want to wait because timeline and all. So I'm going to use the iridescent rhinestones. They were part of the Valentine suite in the January to June mini catalog, but I'm 99% certain that they are carrying on and they'll be in the annual catalog. Like I said, long week, and now some of the details that I knew, like I just knew last week. This week I don't know, but I know you can get them now. So if you want to get some of the good, I have really good thank you gifts this month, guys. So if you want those, this is one of the things you can add to your order. That's not popping up great because I have it buried under there, but it's good enough for now. It is definitely good enough for the week that I'm having. So there you go. But if you are interested in anything, scroll down below this video, and there's always the little thing you can pop up, and it has always the link to the blog post. The vellum thing and the stamps for this aren't available till May 3rd. If you need a catalog, let me know. If you email me this week, I cannot promise that I will email you back. By next Tuesday, I'll be back on track. Monday, yeah, Monday is my taxes. Yesterday was going to get more on taxes too. They're almost done. I have a lot of addition left to do and checking numbers, but they're 90% done. That's what happens when you live. I could file an extension. So there you go. Everybody have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye.